Chapter 4, Control Your Anger. When Izuku gets home, the first thing he does is try to find his mother. But when he can't, he quickly realizes why. Inko is at work this early in the morning. I guess it'll just have to wait until she gets home. Izuku sighs and walks into the kitchen. He sees that both of their plates of food are still sitting there from last night. Midoriya takes the 2 plates of katsudon and heads over to the sink to wash them. She didn't even eat, Izuku thinks with worry in his eyes. Once he is done cleaning up, he goes to his bedroom to deal with another mess. He looks around at the torn apart bed, ripped posters, and broken action figures. But most importantly, the 3 holes in his bedroom wall right beside the window. Izuku takes in the shameful sight. And here I was thinking Katsuki-Kun was the one with the anger issues. The brunette starts to pick up the scattered mess in his bedroom. I can't believe I did this. I was just so mad. When he's done taking down the ruined posters and done making his bed, he looks at the wall. I don't even know what to do about these. Maybe I can. He goes to his closet and takes out the last poster he has. Now with the holes covered up with an eraser poster, and the mess cleaned up, Izuku is starting to feel a little better. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He sees a text from an unknown number. He opens it up and reads the following text message. Unknown number. I asked the old hag to give me your number. Look, I'm not the type for stupid sentimental bullshit, but I just wanted to make sure that you were okay. Me? Yeah, I'm fine. My mum is at work, so I haven't gotten to talk to her yet though. Right, no. I have just been cleaning up around the house. Katsuki-Kun, 3. Hey Deku, I want you to meet with me during lunch on Monday. I think I've got an idea for how to get your quirk under control. Also, don't you ever again go standing on the edge of a fucking cliff for fuck's sake. Me? I'm still sorry you had to see me like that, Katsuki-Kun. I'm not usually like that. I was just really upset with everything and how everyone was acting towards me because of the quirk. Katsuki-Kun, 3. Look, I get it, Deku. And for what it's worth, I didn't mean it when I said to take a swan dive off the roof. It was fucking stupid of me to say. So don't you fucking do anything like that again. Understand? Me? I do, I promise I'll never do it again. The scruffy brunette closes his phone. I can't believe my eyes. Katsuki-Kun was so worried about me. Deku makes an excited squeal and jumps onto his newly made bed. This is the closest we've been in years. Maybe our relationship isn't so far gone after all. Izuku puts in his reminders to meet Katsuki-Kun during lunch on Monday. The brunette never thought he would be looking forward to a Monday of all things, but here he is. The second Izuku hears the front door open and keys clash on the counter, he gets out of bed. He immediately rushes out of his room so he can finally have a much-needed talk with his mum. Mum asks the scruffy brunette. Izuku, the moment Inko meets her eyes with her son's, her eyes start to water up. Izuku, honey, I'm so sorry for how I acted yesterday. I don't know what happened to me, I was just scared all of a sudden and Mum, it's okay. I get it. Look, I have something to tell you. The brunette looks at his mum as if the next words he says will burn her. What is it, sweetie? Inko walks over to her son and speaks with empathy. You can tell me anything, you know that, right? I know, Mum, it turns out I'm not quirkless after all. He looks up to his mother. Well, what do you mean, sweetie? She gives a confused scoff. That's not possible, Izuku objects. No, it is. That's what happened yesterday. You were scared because that's what my quirk does to people. But I can't control it. Izuku levels his head with the floor. Inko looks at her son with worry evident in her eyes and hugs him. Izuku, honey, I promise we'll figure this out. I'm so sorry, Mum. To make you feel like that and not have the power to stop it was no as horrifying. Izuku starts to tear up. I know, honey, but it's going to be okay. You hear? Inko coos to her son. Izuku just hopes that she is right. He wants things to be okay too. When Midoriya is sitting in class Monday, he can't stop his leg from bouncing up and down due to his excitement. Today's the day, I'm finally going to get to spend time with Katsuki-Kun. I know it's only to figure things out with my quirk, but still. Izuku honestly can't think of anything that can ruin his day. Well, maybe expect one thing. He keeps hearing little snippets of these three girls' conversation next to him. The topic kinda makes him feel his own jealousy boil up inside him. No fucking way, if he got with any of us it would definitely not be you, the girl has bright red lipstick and a bad attitude. Izuku thinks he remembers her name being Ima. The next one to talk is a girl with shiny blue hair and a mutation quirk that makes her have cat ears. Izuku knows her for being shy. And if Izuku of all people thinks someone else is shy, then she's a cry for help. I mean, you don't know that. The shy girl looks down at her lap. Look, don't take this the wrong way, but trust me when I say Bakugo would have to be blind to go out with you. Ima and her friend both snicker to each other. Now Izuku has two reasons to be pissed. 1. These bitches think they can steal Katsuki-Kun. And 2. They are being total assholes. Izuku is trying to keep his rage at bay, but he is slowly losing the battle. Who do they think they are? There's no way in hell I'm going to let them take him away from me because he is mine. Izuku's eyes flash red and he stares down the three girls. All in unison, they freeze in fear. Deku holds eye contact until he lets the anger fade from himself. The world soon turns back to its natural hues and the three girls do not speak a word for the rest of class. Midoriya considers his work here done. After class ends, the brunette practically shoots out of his chair. He rushes up to Bakugo's desk. Hey Katsuki. So where are we going to? What the hell do you think you're doing, loser? You really think you can just walk on up here and casually talk to Bakugo like that? The one who interrupted Deku was one of Bakugo's lackeys. Stay in your lane, freak. Come on Bakugo, let's get to lunch. Bakugo stands up and gives the one with gruesomely long fingers a scowl. Don't tell me what to do. Just go ahead and I'll catch up. I got something to take care of first. His two lackeys complied and headed to lunch without their leader. Izuku looks up at Bakugo and his heart flutters. He loves it when he takes charge like that and tells people what to do. Nerd, are you listening? The explosive blonde screams at him. Huh, whoa, sorry. The brunette apologizes while flustered. You really do zone out a lot, how the blonde scoffs at his expense. The brunette awkwardly scratches the back of his head and lets out an awkward laugh to match it. I didn't really think of where we should go. We can't just talk about this at lunch where everyone can hear. But we can't stay in the classroom either, so the blonde gets cut off by the brunette. Actually Katsuki, I think I just might have a place. Well, what are you waiting for? Lead the way. The brunette shakes his head in acknowledgement. He heads to the stairs that led to the roof and Bakugo follows shortly behind. Izuku gets out his pen and a screw to pick-lock the door once more. He has easily done this over a dozen times and with a little muscle memory it opens in seconds. Damn nerd, how many times have you came up here? I didn't even know it was possible to pick a lock that fast. Bakugo questions the brunette. I've actually been coming up here for lunch most of the year. I guess nobody notices when a quirkless kid like me goes missing. Who knows, maybe they just don't care. If Izuku didn't know any better he'd say that Katsuki looked sympathetic from his statement. Izuku climbs the ladder by the door and is waiting for Katsuki to follow suit when he realizes the blonde isn't. Aren't you coming up? Asks the brunette. And why the hell would we go up there? We can just stay here, you know. Besides, there's no fencing up there. Izuku interjects. Yeah, but it's nicer up here and it has an amazing view. After a few minutes of quarreling back and forth and begging from Izuku, Katsuki gives in to the brunette. He gives an exaggerated sigh and makes way up the ladder. Bakugo will never admit it, especially to Deku, but he's afraid of heights. Of course he is, because after all, who wouldn't be after that day? The day he almost died. Flashback. Bakugo is dead. Izuku sees blood, so much blood. It's everywhere. All Bakugo Katsuki is covered in is red. All Izuku can see is red. KK Katsuki. Izuku rushes over to his friend. He's unresponsive. This can't be happening. Izuku turns his former friend over and he looks into his lifeless crimson eyes. Those lifeless red eyes. It's all just a blur of red. Izuku succumbs to misery and rage. The small brunette looks down at his hands covered in Bakugo's blood. The blood starts glowing and shining ruby red. Slowly all of the blood on Bakugo's body comes seeping into Izuku's hands. Izuku starts to cry, but they're not tears, he's crying blood. All of the injuries on the small blonde's body start to heal. His broken bones start to snap back into place and eventually all of his injuries are healed. Bakugo's eyes snap open and his breathing comes back in a rush. Katsuki-Kun, you're okay. You're alive, the small scruffy brunette cries tears of joy. What happened? The mini-explosive blonde asks with confusion. But just as he starts to get up he freezes. Because what he sees horrifies him. Izuku is covered in blood, with even some seeping from his eyes. Those eyes. Those red eyes. So Katsuki-Kun, when you said you had an idea of how to get my quirk under control, what did you mean? The scruffy brunette queries. Well, for starters, I think we both know it's impossible for you to actually remove your quirk. So instead you're gonna have to just suppress it. At least for now, until you figure out how to actually use your quirk properly. So to suppress it we have to know the activation requirements. Izuku is sitting in pure shock. Since when were you an expert in quirk theory? Izuku asks in awe. Since it was a requirement to get into UA, I have to study up if I even want a shot of getting in. The entrance exam starts next month, you know, the blonde retorts with an eye roll. Oh, I didn't know. Anyways, I'm pretty sure the activation requirement is connected with my emotions. In particular, anger, Izuku says to the blonde. So, all we got to do is figure out how to control your emotions. How hard can it be? Bakugo doesn't know it now, but he will soon learn to regret those words.